gentlemen, aloha and welcome back to the Lonestar Hawaiian Garage, now dubbed named Hale Bowtie. Hale in Hawaiian is house or home. The reason I say Hale Bowtie, if you are new, we have our 2020 Silverado Trail Boss here behind me. We have our all new, to me, 2017 Camaro ZL1. A monster without a name just yet. And then last but obviously not least, our 2007 OG Silverado. We pulled out in the sun, give it a nice little suntan. Actually, what we are doing is step one of my New Year's resolutions, which is, just like everybody else, trying to become more healthy and fit. I played sports my entire life, all the way through college, played in the NCAA in college. But regardless, exercise, sports, just being in shape is a massive part of my life. And with COVID, I haven't been to a gym in nearly a year, and I'm just sick and tired of not having that little piece within my life that gives me balance and some stress relief. So, you might have seen it on the ground. Yes, we finally pulled the trigger on actually starting to build somewhat of a little gym here in the garage. We have an Ethos folding wall rack. We gotta bolt this rack up against the wall. We also got some plates. They somehow had in stock 4 plates in their entire store. But I'm saying this to you on the channel to get myself a decent commitment. 5 days a week, every single morning, we're gonna be out here on this rack. We're gonna get this thing bolted up for step one of this video, and then we'll actually get into the automotive content. Woo, that was a pain. I don't know how long ago this one died, but that looks amazing. I've always wanted my own personal like power rack slash weight set. This is the perfect kind of intermediary between the two. It's not a full power rack. You can do everything essentially on it. So there we go, guys. Ethos folding wall rack. This thing is so solid. I had a feeling I was gonna have to modify something just because we have this thing coming down here. I couldn't mount the wall mount any higher than this or it makes contact here. So what I had to do is actually drop this about 1.5 inches and drill new holes. This is solid. So that wasn't very fun getting through there, but everything lines up, everything's perfect, everything is level. I have my pull-up bar, the power rack, I got my bench right here. My barbell should be in by tomorrow. We're off to a good start on the new year besides being sick, but that looks amazing. So what's gonna happen now is you guys are fast forwarding back to the automotive content in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, guys. As you can see, it's getting a bit cold here in Texas. Yes, I'm a pansy when it comes to the cold. I am not built for the cold. But guys, my weight rack is finished. My barbell came in this week. We still got a bunch of weights to get, but my first week of working out with this thing is totally a good time. I'm extremely sore, but I love this weight rack. 2021 is gonna be a whole new year for me. We're getting right back in shape. As far as today goes, we have so much to get done. We have a modification for the ZL1. This piece of the car is absolutely horrendous and really is the only piece that needs to be changed immediately. In addition to that, we do have an update for the wheels, which are going on, and I do want to see it on the Trail Boss as well. You'll see what I'm getting into here in just a few moments, but before that, the OG hasn't run in a little while. We're gonna take it for a little drive this morning, and I need to use the bed. It's a few days after Christmas, and the Christmas lights need to come down. I don't have a ladder that's tall enough to get up to my roof, so what I do is throw my step ladder in the bed of the truck right about here to climb on the roof to get everything down. So that's the game plan, but looking up there, there's frost on my roof, and I've really missed this truck. It doesn't get driven much, transparently. It used to be my daily driver, but it really just sits in the garage a lot now. So I try to at least, once every week or 2 weeks, get it out and actually take it for a drive, get the fluids running, engine up to temp. It's good just general maintenance, keep it up and running. So that's what we're doing now. I love this truck. It's probably my most, call it raw vehicle I have. It's not an old truck. I've kind of got blasted in the comments. No, it's not an old traditional carbureted truck. And in fact, 2021 is going to be a whole new year for this truck. There's big things coming for this truck, guys, and a lot of what's coming for it is sitting in my laundry room. We've been collecting parts for a while now. This thing's going to be sick this year. Just wait. Okay, so it turns out the roof's still a little bit damp. I gotta wait a little bit longer because I have a really steep pitch and I'll just slide right off. What that means is we're actually gonna start with the ZL1. Now, the name for this car is still TBD, but I came up with an idea last night as myself and my son watched the movie Surf's Up. So given the fact that this is the Z trim, the ZL1, what about Big Z? I'm thinking Big Z because I can relate.
What you want is something in between. Trust me, I'm the expert here, okay?
Okay.
If you haven't seen Surf's Up, I highly advise it. It is on Netflix right now. It is, in fact, one of my favorites. So what's your thoughts? Do we have Big Z in Paradise Cove? Comments below. Big Z? Yes? No? Maybe? So what is going on with the ZL1 today? One thing that was really surprised when I bought this car that it still had was the stock lug nuts. And I mean stock lug nuts in the sense of there's not one locking lug nut on any of these wheels. These wheels are highly favored amongst all the Camaros. To me, these personally are the best looking wheels you can get on any Camaro. So either the people in Virginia are a lot more kind than other people and never steal wheels, or it's just the fact that I'm a little bit overly paranoid when it comes to the theft because I had stuff stolen all the time growing up. I, in fact, am going to upgrade my lugs to a locking system. There's several different paths you can go. What I did not want to do was what I bought the Trail Boss with. When we bought the Trail Boss, the dealership had already put on locking lug nuts across all four wheels. Apparently they have a theft problem at that dealership. Now there's two problems with these lug nuts. One thing is the coloring. All the lugs on here are more of a brushed finish. This is an absolute chrome finish, so that sticks out like a sore thumb. And number two, they didn't either measure these or size them up correctly because the locking lug nut sits out way further than every other lug on this wheel. So it just looks super out of place. My worry was if I went with that type of system on this car, it's gonna look horrible. And again, the wheels look so good on this, and you can so easily screw up the way the wheels look by throwing an improper locking lug nut on there. I have two sets of lugs that I'm gonna test out today. These are all from Gorilla. We have 4 circular locks, or we have the entire set of 20 here. Again, these have a factory size, somewhat sized bulge. I think this is gonna look really good. What I also wanna do with the Trail Boss is see how these look on that truck. And if I think it looks good, we're gonna order an entire set for the Trail Boss as well. So mod number 1 for Big Z today is gonna be the lug. As we have all 20 lug nuts, our full system here, and then our 4 lug nuts, the wheel guards here. I mentioned before, these are a circular pattern. As you can see, the actual locking mechanism is on the inside of this ring. These outer ring will just spin in place if someone ever tries to get it off, unless you do in fact have the key. So this is one option we can look into. This diameter is supposed to be real close to the stock one, but as you can see there, color-wise, this is chrome, this is more of a brush. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw one on there to see what it looks like, and then we'll proceed to installing the black. These type of locking lugs, you have to make sure you get the right size. Most of these are meant for aftermarket wheels. Aftermarket wheels will typically have a smaller diameter. You need a smaller lug nut to fit that. But since these are OEM, you do need more of a girthy. In order to fill this space here, you need a larger diameter lug nut. So these are actually a lot closer than I thought were gonna be. So really happy to see that. So that's actually gonna fill that pretty nicely. I think at this point I'm gonna end up with these, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw the one chrome one on there, see what it looks like. And we actually throw a few of these on the Trail Boss as well. From this distance, it doesn't look bad. It fills the gap there on the lug. It's the same size. Obviously, it's a circular pattern, but if you look close, those are chrome, and all the other ones are more of a brushed finish. To each his own on styling, literally from about 6 feet. Can't really tell a difference unless you're really looking for it. You know, it's the same deal with these wheels as well. That brushed versus the chrome, it just doesn't look good together. The depth of these lugs are a lot better than what I got with the truck. This is way too deep of a lug nut. This is way deeper than the stock ones that are on here. If you are wanting to go with a chrome set, these will look really good with the rest of them being chrome. I'm not a chrome guy, I like black, so I think I will be ordering a full set for the Trail Boss. is a thicker lug. Put that on there. Good news is the threads are going on real nicely. Oh yeah, that's gonna happen. That's definitely gonna happen. Wow. That's gonna be sweet. Kind of a murdered out wheel here. We are definitely gonna order a set of these for the Trail Boss. On the ZL1 though, because the Trail Boss, I don't have a set for you. I'm sorry, this was a test. This one, I'm still on the fence about. I think it looks really good. The fact that I have a black car, but if this car was blue or silver or anything else, these lugs I think would look kind of silly, but it ties in pretty well. I think it's just the bow tie that's throwing the look off a bit. There's a front with the blacks and the rear with the chrome. I don't know, they both look really good. The chrome looks really good, to be honest. I say chrome, the brushed aluminum finish looks really good. But so does that black. I just gotta take care of that bow tie. But if I black out that bow tie, that means, what if I murder out each of the emblems? So the ZL, what if that goes to a satin matte, the bow tie, the flow tie in the front, the Z there, and the Z on the back? What if we totally murder this thing out? All right, so we got 3 more wheels to do. I'm gonna knock this out really quickly. Again, I'm just using my 4-way, so this is something you can do really easily at home. The last thing I'm going to do is go around and actually torque these down with a torque wrench to make sure they are set to spec. All right, 3 wheels to go. Ready? All right, guys, all the new lugs are now on Big Z. Everything's torqued down the spec. We've come a long way, guys. We're actually using a torque wrench and torquing it down the spec. That's amazing. I'm gonna give you guys a full reveal here in just a second, but before that, I gotta get up on this ladder and take my Christmas lights down. And as long as I don't fall off the roof, we'll be back in about 3, 2, 1. We are done with the roof. I'm still alive. Good news, and also good news, the ZL1's all clean. So we're on to part 2 modification of this video, which is gonna involve some Vivint vinyl. Now, this isn't the vinyl we see on the top of the Silverado. This is a somewhat translucent vinyl, and this is gonna solve my issue I have right there and the issue I have mostly up here. I understand why Chevrolet does this. All manufacturers have to do this, and that is an amber reflector on the front quarter and a red reflector on the rear quarter. The Department of Transportation does require that, and different vehicles kind of implement it in different ways. For example, the new Silverado has it here on the edge of the headlamp. That needs to go away as well, FYI. And this one has it in the fender, on the rear fender. It just looks so, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. The car is so menacing. And then there's this like really, really bright orange right there. So the good news is we have a permanent solution coming. Unfortunately, I think with COVID and everything else, Diode Dynamics smoked LEDs, places those stock ones there, are completely out of stock. So we have a few weeks till we get that, and I'm tired of looking at it. So I'm gonna show you guys a quick and easy way you can take care of this. Actually, this is a smoked tint from Vivint Vinyl, really cheap off of Amazon. I bought a big roll of it, knowing I'm gonna do a couple of different things on the Trail Boss and on this. We're gonna break this thing out for the first time. I'm gonna cut a piece about this size. I have my heat gun. It's all clean now. I'm gonna take some alcohol, clean it up, get this thing stuck on, cut around the edges, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, what we're using for this is the Vivint Vinyl. We have some scissors, an X-Acto knife, have alcohol to clean off the surface before we put it on, and a heat gun. So what I'm gonna do is measure this out, cut a slit of this off, and then I'm gonna heat this up a little bit. Because it is about 40 degrees out right now, this is really stiff. And I put some heat on here, makes it a little more limber, a little easier to use. And then I'm gonna place it on top of the reflector. And as simple as this, you take the X-Acto knife and cut right along the edge, pull off the excess. We'll throw heat on the very end just to make sure it sticks on there real well. Now, because I did just wash the car, I want to make sure I evaporate any of the water that's in here, but I need to be careful to get too hot because this does have a clear bra on it, and the last thing I want to do is encourage the clear bra to lift from the panel. That was really expensive. You want the vinyl warm but not hot. If it's hot, It gets really cold out, it'll constrict and it'll actually pull off the edge. So you want it warm enough to be able to work with it, but not hot by any means. And just use your finger, run it around, make sure there's no air bubbles in it. You want to stretch it as little as possible. The more you stretch, the more prone to failure vinyl is. So now that's on there, I'm gonna throw heat on there to help those edges. And this is smoke, so there's a light on the other side of that amber, so when you turn the car on and run it with the running lights, there is in fact an amber light, which would technically make it DOT legal, but as always, check your local laws and regulations before you go and modify your car like me.
Will you find me? Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sunrise, when the sun.
Wow, that's cool. So if you look there, right, does it show up? The reflector actually still works when that sunlight hits it directly. But then you scoot over here a little more over and it's gone. Wow, that looks so much better. It's such a better look. All the little things, guys. It's all about the little details that bring these cars to life. One little detail, not a little detail, big detail is these taillights. We need to be thinking about that. Well guys, there it is. This lighting is insane. I don't know what it is. Either the sunlight coming in the front and it's somewhat in the shadows. I don't know, it just looks extremely mean right now, especially the fact that we got rid of those aluminum brushed-ish lug nuts and that hideous amber reflector and the red reflector at the back. This thing, it looks transformed. It's so silly. So little things can really transform your car. This thing looks darker and blacker than it did ever before. This thing actually looks so mean that I don't know if Big Z really fits the car. Obviously, I'm a child. It just looks too menacing. I didn't want a super mean, angry name for the car, but it might have to have it. This thing is looking meaner and meaner. And from what I envision this going forward, is just gonna get even more aggressive. This thing's gonna look absolutely insane. So just as an example, here running lights, we do in fact still have the amber lights. I didn't think this car could look any angrier. It looks angrier. Well, obviously, I'm extremely happy about this. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like this modification, if you want to see more on the ZL1, please smash that like button below. It helps the channel out tremendously. And if you haven't joined the Lonestar Hawaiian family just yet, scroll down, hit that subscribe button below, be part of the Lonestar Hawaiian family. I will also say, don't worry, truck content is coming up. Over the last few months, I have been slowly getting more and more parts in for the OG Silverado. Those parts are sitting right there in the parts department. The OG has a big project coming up. Can't wait to tell you guys about it, but we will save that for our next video. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you in the next one. Aloha.